Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Rico back at it again on a Tuesday night. Welcome. This is the Rico Report, hosted by the Buffalo Fanatics. Y'all know who we are. And I am joined by I would say a friend of mine, a distant friend of mine, in my guy Matt Parrino. I see him laughing in the green room. We're gonna bring him in from the green room and say, "What's going on?"
Look at you, so slick,
slick with it, producing and doing it all, my man.
The transitions are crisp. I'm on the Rico Report. I feel like, dude, you're big time now. I mean,
listen,
we started talking 2 years ago, and you were still building your way up. Now I feel like the small guy on the show.
Listen, man, we're building brick by brick, and we're trying to make it happen. And we're trying to bring star-studded guests. And I have one with me on the Rico Report. So, Matt Parrino, what is going on? Talk to me. How have you been? Let's not get into camp just yet. Tell me how you've been, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's finally, not to get into the camp stuff yet, but just to be back on the football field these last 2 days, man. It's like I didn't realize how much I missed it until I got back out there, because by now we would have had, a good 4 weeks of OTAs, rookie camp, mini camp, and we would have gotten a real good idea of this team already. And so to go not only all spring and summer without any football, but then camp started like about 2 weeks ago. We just got to see this team for the first time live on Monday. So I'm feeling energized. I feel like the fan base is starting to get energized, because I think there was a little bit of a lull there for about a month where it's like, man, is this season even going to happen? And I think that it caused a lot of hesitation in the fan base, where I just felt like the engagement wasn't there. The excitement wasn't there, I should say. And so now we hit Monday, a couple of videos of Stephon Diggs popped out, and all of a sudden, Zach Moss truck sticking some guys, and it's a whole new ballgame.
Hold on a second now. Listen, I tried to not get into the camp stuff, and you're already dropping nuggets on people. So, but I before we get to players, and I need to know what the atmosphere is for you as someone that's covering the team, and to only touch on things you can touch on, because I know there's a lot of things that's got to be mum. So, what's it like now reporting on the team and covering the team and trying to give us, the fans and out there, what's going on with the team? What's it like?
I tell people all the time, what's it like covering the Bills? The coolest part is how hungry Bills fans are for information and content. They just want to talk about Buffalo Bills football 365, And so that part of it's been tough, because I know going into this camp specifically, you spend all these years, it's like this, you're working up to this crescendo. You're tearing the roster down, you're building it up. And this was that big crescendo. Finally, the camp before the year, they were supposed to be real contenders, not only really now in the AFC East, but in the AFC. And we get out there and, I'm getting people asking me who's at right guard? What are the reps looking at defensive end? Can't talk about that this year. But I get it, man. I was on the radio today, and people, the hosts were asking me about the guidelines and everything. And the Bills don't want they want every competitive advantage they can have. And I can respect that. It makes my job a little bit tougher, but it's cool. So you walk in, to the facility. Usually we would walk into the training room and get into the media room. There's no more media room. So we go and just wait on the side of the field house. They open the gate. We got to get checked in. Pool reporters that you can kind of go a little bit different areas, all on the back end zone, the two end zones of the two fields. But there's a few pool reporters that get contact tracers. We can only go on certain areas. And the other
you guys are restricted.
Yeah, there's a lot of restrictions. But listen, man, we knew this was going to happen. This is a COVID-19 world. We just got to be, take everything that they let us do. I mean, that's gravy at this point. We just want to cover football. And today we got a chance, and yesterday, to do that. But it's tough because usually on the practice field, there's a big perimeter, a track around two fields. Yep. And usually we can go anywhere on that track to watch practice. Now we're just on the back end zone. So we can walk from this end to this end. And it's cool because we could see most of the stuff. But if there's stuff going on here and there's other stuff going on behind that, I have binoculars. I'm out there trying to see through the lines. It's tough, but we're making it happen.
Binoculars.
Yeah, I got binoculars because I use those in the press box at games because we're up in the the press box. So I need binoculars to see down, and they're coming in handy right now because there's been times where sometimes they work in 2 different groups or 3 different groups, however it ends up working out. And so to see what you want to see, sometimes you got to peer through, even in a normal practice.
Yeah.
So it's, the first day was rough. Like I felt like it took me almost half the practice to just get my bearings on what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, when we're allowed to tweet, when we're not allowed to tweet. Like you noticed today, there was no tweeting from practice because the only time we could tweet is when the Bills are streaming practice live. So when you see like Matty Glab or whoever's doing it from the Bills and they're streaming the practice, Chris Brown, then you'll see tweets reporting from practice. But once that period ends, it's got to get all shut down. And, but this won't really matter. Here's the thing, Rico.
Yeah.
This is 3 weeks of training camp, right? And so once we get to the season, practices kind of change anyway. We don't see all the team drills and a lot of the work that they do. We see a lot of stretching, some of the individual work. So this is a shortened training camp period anyway, but we're going to hit a period where this stuff's not going to be matter. It's tough because this was a period of time where Bills fans kind of had earmarked as, we're going all in on info all the time. And there's just like kind of a lack of it.
And you don't realize that we as fans hang off of every footage, every clip, every tweet, everything that goes on. I mean, I can make up a new Twitter account and blast out that I don't know, the water boy got in the way and Josh Allen whipped the ball at the water boy. Everybody would eat it up because we're hanging off of everything that's being put on Twitter, and it's crazy. So I'm hoping that only the correct information is coming out and it's as accurate as possible. And I had a question that came in from, and I want you to touch on this a little bit, because not only do you have to physically distance yourself with your binoculars and all that stuff, you've got to follow all these new rules. Now, are these rules Bills imposed or is this NFL imposed?
Both. So the NFL put some guidelines, some protocols in place for how the league was going to operate under the COVID-19 pandemic. And then they put it on the teams to institute their own protocols and rules. So, a lot of it, I mean, literally they're doing both, both sides are kind of just working to make this thing. That's another thing. I was talking to my wife, who's a teacher, and they're trying to get kids back into school and getting all of that figured out. Like I kind of put myself in the Bills' shoes and teams and league in the league as a whole. Like this is uncharted territory, man. Like they're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it works. So, I really, while it's tough because this time is usually like so crazy for like the information hungry fans, I do understand what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do it. So listen, we're going to get football in a couple weeks. We think, fingers crossed. So whatever makes that happen, we're cool.
I was about to say, so I'm glad that you're doing well and you're covering the team. You're doing it for what I think is the second year now straight.
This will be my third year. This is starting my third year. So I'm 2 years in.
2 years in. This is your third year. Give me the differences between, and very briefly, let me just talk about atmosphere. Year 1 to you being a rookie into the game, and now you're going to year 3. This is where you're supposed to ascend and become that guy, and then now COVID hits. What adjustments are you trying to make right now? The ones that best suit you.
I think the one cool thing is that in the way that this has happened, like this COVID thing has changed a lot of what we do at New York Upstate and Syracuse.com. So we've really gone heavy into our podcast. And it's allowed us to branch out a little bit more. It's something we had always planned for, but I kind of want to get my feet wet on the beat before I took that on, because as you know, that's a heavy lift, man. Like a weekly show, sometimes going by like twice, like you'll have your Friday show. This is another show. I mean,
correct.
That's a lot in 1 week just to do 2 shows. And then on top of it, writing stories, editing a lot of my own stories, and, game planning with Ryan, and just daily coverage and social media 24/7. So it could be a lot, but I think that more than anything, one of the things that I really want to do in my first 2 years was really study the game. Like when I spent 5 years covering MMA and UFC, I had to really go back to the drawing board and just relearn the sport and spend time, because you come in here, man, you don't want to be that guy that's like, I know this, I know that. And I feel like I'm an amateur, still just like working my way up and just trying to get as much knowledge as I can. there's so many smart minds on the beat that I try to, we have them on my show, and so I'm constantly learning. That's my motto.
And let me put it this way, from someone looking from the outside in, and we've known that we've been doing this like a couple years now, that we've been kind of tossing up with each other, and the chemistry is here, so I can chop it up with you naturally. And I think some of the your competition, and I want to call it competition, your peers, I'll say your peers, the game is changing ever so quickly, and the newer guys that are coming in are adapting quicker, and we can see it with the interactions you have with certain players. We can see it with the type of questions that are be asked in the press room. So kudos to you. It's a new day. New young blood is coming up in the game, and I love it. By the way, folks, we have 163 people watching. This is the Buffalo Fanatics. This is Rico. I'm here with my guy. By the way, we got Sean Wilkinson that says Rico and Parrino getting more views than DNC. Woo! I don't know about all that, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Look at Parrino. Parrino's like a little. He doesn't want to give too much into it, but we'll leave it at that. don't get too excited. Don't get too excited now. So this is the Buffalo Fanatics. I got my guy Matt Parrino from Buffalo Bills NY Up. Buffalo NY Up. Excuse me. So here's the deal, my man. I had my guy, a very good guest in Marcel Louis-Jacques, ESPN reporter, on the
One nugget.
Report.
One nugget.
Drop that nugget right now.
That's
wait a minute. No, wait. Drop that nugget right now. Let me ring that bell for it. Let's go.
I mean, I don't know how much of a secret it is. That dude, that's my guy. That's my best friend on the beat, man. Like Marcel has been such a joy to have on the. I mean, we hang out on the road. Like, he comes over for we do cookouts and stuff. We're working on the basement right now, so we're planning a big. We're gonna kick that off the right way. But no, Marcel is just the guy, man. Like I saw he was on the show the other day, and like. You come across a lot of people in this business, and there's so many cool people on the Bills beat. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's just like, he's a real one. So
he's a
shout out to Marcel.
Parrino, give him a shout out. By the way, I thought you were about to drop a big nugget. You just dropped a little nugget.
I don't got any big nuggets yet. The big nuggets will come later. They'll come later.
We're good. So this is the Buffalo Fanatics. This is Rico. I got my guy Matt Parrino with me. So myself and Marcel, we had a little game. We played a game called 2 Words. And you are no different. I'm about to put you through the grinder. And you're going to drop 2 words on certain things that I'm going to drop. And hold on a second. Right before we do that, I got a big donation from my guy, Richard Cataina. Rico, need more report 3 times a week. You want 3 times a week? Maybe I can try to get that 3 times a week. Matt Parrino doesn't know what's going on right now. It's the Rico report. This is how we bang bells. That's how we do it. Anyway, so that being said, sir, 2 words. I want you to give me 2 words, and I'm gonna name something to you, and I'm gonna start light. And I want you to give me 2 words on it. The atmosphere at One Bills Drive.
Big energy.
Big energy. Excellent. One position group, and this is off the cuff here. One position group that you are paying attention to a lot, and you've noticed something about them.
Wide receiver, and first and foremost, because I've really wanted to kind of sink my teeth into Stephon Diggs here early, because I got to be honest, in 2 days, it's clear as day how phenomenal of a football player and talent he is. But just to see how everybody else works off of him, we haven't seen a whole lot of just 2 days worth of practice. There's not a lot you can glean from that, but just seeing the dynamic with him, Cole and John Brown on the field together. Isaiah Hodgins, he's been kind of like that guy that's made a little bit of a quiet splash early in these first 2 days. You saw the video, I think, that the Bills just tweeted out. He made this insane catch over Levi Wallace. Bless Levi's heart. He tried his hardest, man. He jumped like he was in perfect position. He jumped up to make the play. And Allen just kind of threw it up, and Hodgins was like, "Bang! Just let me get that real quick out of the middle." 6'4", he's massive. Plucked it exactly.
Okay. Here we go.
The receivers.
I gave this same question to Marcel, and you're no different. Josh Allen, dark horse MVP. 2 words. Yo, I appreciate that. You don't have to touch too much on it. And that's just your opinion. Right. And I like it.
Okay.
It seemed like you were about to elaborate. You're going to elaborate, or you're going to keep it that way?
Yeah, because like I'm big on Josh this year. I think he's gonna have a massive year. I think he could throw for 4,000 yards. I think he could put together, 35 plus touchdowns, combination passing and rushing. But to be an MVP in a league with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Michael Thomas, I mean, I just haven't seen enough yet to really be on that train, because we're talking about the 23rd ranked scoring offense last season. We need to see a big jump when we're talking about top 10. And listen, they added Stephon Diggs, and he's going to help things, but how much is he going to help things? How much of the jump going to be? So ask me week 8. I might have a different answer for you, but right now I'm going to say,
Okay. Now I think it was the New York Giants new head coach, Judge, I believe his name is, has a philosophy out in New York, right? New Jersey, shall I say. He's removed names, everything off of these jerseys. And he's saying that you're going to have to realize who this person is by the way they move, by the way they work. I personally like it a lot. How do you feel about his philosophy on removal of name, jerseys, and all that stuff?
I think you got to, 2 words?
2 words. Give me 2 words. It's a tough one.
It's weird.
It's weird. Okay.
It's weird because I think you got to really know your room to make a move like that. How are people going to react to that? Do you have a young team that, have a lot of scrappy guys that want to earn their stripes, or do you have some veterans on the squad? And just looking from the outside looking in, maybe it is going to work because they do have a young team. Look at Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram. I mean, they don't have a lot of, grizzled vets that are going to probably come in the room and have a big issue with that. But if you're going to go with a stunt like that, as a rookie head coach, it's a gamble, in my opinion, because I still, especially in this environment with Zoom calls and everything, do you really know your team that well that they're going to respond to something like that? So, but hey, take a shot, see if it works. Maybe. I mean, it's a gamble. It is a gamble.
Now let's get to the nitty gritty now. Camp. It's been 2 days in camp right now. There are thousands of questions, but my set of eyes and a whole bunch of eyes are glued to a specific position group, and it's near the tail end of it. It's the receiver position. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Andre Roberts. Maybe those are your 4. And Andre Roberts, I'm starting to question a little bit, but he's my 4th. The bottom end of this receiving group is it's tough to know who's going to make the team. So my question to you is, and this is not no 2 words, it's just us talking now. Are we keeping 6 receivers or 7?
6. I think 6. They've kept 6. I think the last 2 years, unless there's an injury, say one of the guys goes down, the top 3 guys, one of them goes down in camp or whatever, then I think you could entertain the idea of 7 where you might need a little bit more diversity. But right now, with the kind of production and just snap count you're getting out of your top 3 guys, to me, you need a return man. Andre Roberts is going to be that return man. I think he's a lock because I heard Farwell talk about him on Sunday, talked about him as an elite returner, a guy that opposing special teams coaches fear. They don't even want to kick him the ball. And you saw that last year. How many times did Andre Roberts get a clean run back last year? And he was close to breaking a few of them. He's a talented guy. And the thing I always argue when you're in a situation like this, where you're talking about, I know some people are in the camp of Isaiah McKenzie can run back kicks. Well, first of all, we haven't seen a version of Isaiah McKenzie that doesn't struggle with, fumble issues, running back kicks. He might be able to do that. And I'm a big Isaiah McKenzie fan. Love him in the locker room. He's a great guy to talk to, but I just am a little bit hesitant saying, okay, let's hand that over when you're talking about having a Pro Bowl level guy in Roberts. I think Gabe Davis is a lock, 4th round draft pick. He's a big physical presence. I think he's a lock. I think he makes this roster. I don't think anybody at the bottom can make it over him. Then right now, even before camp started, maybe not before camp started, but with the way that he's played the first 2 days, I got Isaiah Hodgins in that number 6 spot. He's versatile. He's dynamic. He can play the slot. He can play outside. He's big. He's physical. And I know your guy, Duke Williams. Yeah, I know you love your Duke Williams. And we saw him today. Marcel and I were talking about it today. Nobody circles the wagons like the Bills. That's what the saying is, right?
Absolutely.
Nobody practices like Duke freaking Williams. That dude is he's amazing in practice. He makes play after play after play.
You don't think they can find a 7th receiver spot and add Duke to it?
I just don't think so. With their other tendencies. 6 linebackers. Farwell talked about it. He's going to need 2 guys minimum, probably 3 of those backup depth linebackers for special teams units. Then you're talking about the defensive backfield, how many safeties they keep.
Okay.
They're going to probably keep 4, Jaquan Johnson, Dean Marlowe, and I think they end up keeping Taron Johnson and Saran Neal too. So, and then you talk about the 4 cornerbacks, probably. They kept 3 last year, but I think this is a different world. With Josh Norman, his age, and Levi Wallace, he's shown to get injured. I could see them keeping 4 cornerbacks too. So then you just start doing those numbers, and it's hard, man. Do they keep Lee Smith? Do they keep DeMarco? All these little things, it makes it hard. So I think 6.
Okay, so now it's a numbers game, and it's going to come down to it. And you look at how many linemen. I think Sal Capaccio had a really informative tweet the other day, and he mentioned what we did last year in terms of who we kept and the number of positions we kept at this, and what we're doing right now especially with this 80-man roster now instead of 90. So when you flip over to the cornerback room, looking at new addition Josh Norman, looking at the competition with Levi Wallace now part of the fold now, looking 10 pounds heavier, looking a lot better. How's that defensive back group look with the safeties and everything and rookies coming in and Dane Jackson? Talk to me about the cornerback room.
Dane Jackson's had a couple nice reps the last few days. I thought he looked pretty. He had one good rep in the one-on-one drills on Monday where I thought he held his own. Robert Foster kind of got away from him a little bit in the back of the end zone. Foster dropped it, but it was great coverage.
Wait, sorry. What did you just say there?
Foster dropped the ball.
Foster dropped it. Okay, I just wanted people to hear that.
Okay.
They know who I'm talking to.
Well, I will tell you that too. Foster's in deep trouble. I mean, he's in concussion protocol. We found out today. He already had work to do to make this roster. He's in a really bad spot on a short timeline.
Are we shocked?
I'm still shocked, man. Parrino,
don't do this to me, man. You weren't shocked. He was inactive last year.
Right. No, I'm not. You're right. You're right. I should reword that.
I'm shocked.
Sure. Yeah, I should reword that. I'm not shocked. I don't
want to jump all over you like that, but I
get what you're saying. You're right. You got to hold me in check sometimes, Rico. I like that. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's not just.
I'm not afraid of it.
My man, it's not just you, man, because some people just feel like we have an infinite amount of positions that we can just have these guys jump on. I had somebody mention to me, can you imagine John Brown, Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, Robert Foster? What?
Right.
In what world does that? I couldn't compute that. I'm sorry.
Madden world. When you like to run 5, you fix your lineup so you can run 5 wide receivers, but you fix it in those pregame settings,
right?
So you don't send a tight end or a running back out there. You just throw all 5 of your receivers out there.
Let them run. Just let them run wild. Let them run wild. So when you see coaches hanging around, there's usually a position group or one side of the ball that they're hanging around a little bit more. And I don't know if you can speak on this. And you could just say no comment, and I can move on to the next. Is McDermott spending more time with the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball?
Well, traditionally speaking, he's pretty much a general out there. Like, he's bouncing around all over the place. I mean, he places a lot of faith in Brian Dable to kind of run that show. And that's no different. That's no secret. Like, that's how it's been the whole time. And I haven't really noticed anything different. Obviously, we're watching it in a much different way this year. But no, I think that he's all over the place, man. He works in practice. Like, I've not, this is my only head coach I've covered, my only football team I've covered. So I haven't seen what it's like in other places. Other guys covered Rex Ryan and that whole deal before this. So they have something to compare it to. For me, like, the dude works during practice. He's all over the place. He gets up. Like, one play I did notice, he was teaching up something. I don't know if it was John Brown or something, but he ran back a play. He was playing defensive back for one play and just like showing him how to do something. So he's bouncing all around the field all the time.
I like it.
But for your defensive backs question, it's a good one. I want to get back to it for a second.
Yes, please.
I think for me, I put out my 53-man roster projection before we went into this thing, and I think that it's almost like a given that Dean Marlowe and Jaquan Johnson are making the team because of what they do on special teams. I think Dean Marlowe kind of assumes that Kurt Coleman role, a guy that can go.
They love Dean Marlowe.
They love him, dude. He's been playing with Mcdermott since 2015. He played on the team as a practice squad guy that Josh Norman was a all-pro on in 2015 for the Carolina Panthers. So,
that man.
Yeah, he goes way back. So I think that he assumes that Coleman role. I think he's ready to take like a bit like that top backup role. Jaquan Johnson is a guy that I think is going to be somebody to watch over the next couple of years. It's funny because as long as this Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer trains rolling, it's going to be tough for Jaquan Johnson to get on the field, but he's so dynamic and he can play special teams. I think it'll be good. And then it's Trey White, whoever wins the job between Josh Norman and Levi Wallace. And then I think there's one spot between Dane Jackson and Cam Lewis, who I think it's going to come down to those two guys. I think Cam Lewis, so here's where it gets interesting.
Yes. Talk to me about it now.
And I think I could say this because it was said recently about Cam Lewis on a conference call with Sean McDermott, or maybe it was Leslie Frazier, where they said that we're going to have him work on the outside and on the inside. So when you have position flexibility, I think that offers a little bit different. I've not seen, and I can't report on this even if I have seen it, if Dane Jackson can play on the inside. I've not seen that. So if you offer them options like Saran Neal and Taron Johnson, one of the reasons they were so secure last year is because they had faith. If we lose our outside corners, Kevin Johnson goes down, Levi Wallace goes down, we could throw Saran Neal or Taron Johnson on the outside. That's crazy flexibility. So I think the guy that shows the most flexibility has the upper hand, but they spent a draft pick on Dane Jackson. Cam Lewis is an undrafted free agent. He's my guy from UB. There's a little bias there for me. Horns up. Always.
I interviewed Cam Lewis, man. I like Cam, and I think he's aggressive enough. I think he's got the ability. He's got ball hawk ability enough to play in this defense, as aggressive as the defense is. I'll say this, though. I have my guy, Steve Dave from the Bills guys, and they were talking about guys that they think that are going to stand out. And my man, Steve, mentioned Cam Lewis, and I got excited because Cam Lewis is someone I'm looking forward to seeing. Nobody's talking about Cam Lewis, and I'd like to see them use him and like put him into the game slowly to see if he can actually play with the big boys, shall I say. So that's one specific person I'm going to be paying attention to as well. I will say this, though. I did see a footage today, and I'm curious about it, and I got two people to talk about, and I'm not going to keep you too long. We're 27 minutes in. I saw my guy McKenzie speaking to, it was a clip, so everybody saw it, Micah Hyde. And it looks like they were talking about punt returning. And Micah Hyde looks like he was giving pointers to Isaiah McKenzie, which then makes me think like there is no way that they would move on from Roberts and put McKenzie in and man the returning position. And then hearing you speak on the last position group from the receiver, that 1-year deal they gave McKenzie, it doesn't seem like it's holding any water. So these 1-year deals they're giving these players makes me now ask you this question. Hauschka just got his deal redone, and his position or his status is in question as the starting kicker. And I'll tell you this, my guy Gilliam is making some noise on the damn football field. Please speak to me on the kicker position and then that fullback position and what's going on with that, because I have a feeling we might be shocked with a transition. Speak on it if you can.
So I think Reggie Gilliam, it's funny because going into this thing, I think it was going to be tough for him to win a job because there's no games. Like how does an undrafted free agent win a job from a vet like Patrick DeMarco? But like, he's so dynamic, and like he made a play today in practice where it was just unreal, over the shoulder catch 30 yards down the field from Allen. And I think it was AJ Klein that was in coverage. And I think did you have him on your show? Or
I absolutely did, my friend. I absolutely did.
He's like, he's like a talented playmaker.
Yes, he is.
In addition to being a bulldozer. So that's interesting. I think that there's some juice there for him. Like, I think that he can maybe make some noise, but he's going to have to really rip the job away because we all know what they think of DeMarco in the room.
They love him. Yeah.
I'll say this, man. There's on both sides of the ball, there's so many guys that have assumed leadership roles. Like if you look at, this is Allen's team now. He's the leader, right?
Yep.
So do you need all these other leaders when you got a guy like Mitch Morse, who's a leader, John Feliciano, even from the sidelines, even with a chest injury, he's out there, looks like he's having conversations all over the place with, all types of different people. I think I could say that. But yeah, I think that they have leadership on the defensive side of the ball. I put out a story on Harrison Phillips. Everybody's asking, like, what's he going to mean back to the team? He's going to mean something. He was playing really well
You're damn right.
before he got injured.
Absolutely.
But more than anything, this dude is a natural born leader. Like, you replace guys like Lorenzo Alexander and Harrison Phillips and, all these other guys with these types of players that can be leaders. And I think that, that as much as they might want to keep DeMarco for what he brings, he plays a lot of special teams too. So Gilliam would probably have to really assert himself there in camp. So I think there's a chance. It's still a long shot, but there's a chance. The kicking battle, however, I got an update for you there.
Please tell me. Drop that nugget.
So what they're doing is the last 2 days, they started 38-yard field goal, and they get 6 kicks to kick a field goal. If you miss the kick, you get one more chance to make it again. So it goes 38, 42, 45, 48, 51, something like that, all the way up to a 53 or 54-yarder. It's hard to see the yard lines out there. So yesterday, Tyler Bass went, and he went 6 for 9. So that meant he missed 3 kicks all the way up to 9. Today, Hauschka, or Hausch Money, as some people in the comments like to refer to him, was pretty money. He went 6 for 7. He only needs 7 kicks.
Okay.
He made 2 over 50 yards. He hit a 50-yarder and a 53-yarder. His one miss was either 50 or 53. I can't remember. But he kind of outshined the young buck on the first 2 days. So we'll see. I think that we're going to get a lot of those live kick competitions throughout the next couple of weeks, because that's how they're going to judge this thing.
I love it. Now, I'm going to get right to the meat and potatoes, because I think a lot of people want to talk about this, and this is perfect because I got a little bit more time with you, and I appreciate your time, by the way. By the way, folks, this is the Buffalo Fanatics. This is the Rico Report. I'm on here with my guy, Matt Parrino from Buffalo Bills NY Up. I keep saying Buffalo Bills, Buffalo NY Up. So, folks, give my man Matt Parrino a follow. He's a great follow. He is an up-and-coming G in the game. Stop playing. Stop sleeping on this guy. He's sneaking up on a lot of guys, and I don't think they like it. I'm going to say it. He won't, but I will. So, that being said, we need to talk about the man, Josh Allen. I need to know how he's looking, because right now, all I'm seeing is him airing it out, and guys are coming down with these things. So, he's changed his mechanics. We know that free arm that was all over the place, he's tucking that thing in now. Now he's got it where it's supposed to be, and now he's dialing it out. How is he actually looking in camp from year 1 to when you were covering the team to right now?
He's looked really good these first 2 days. Like, he's looked solid. He's looked strong. Like, there's been times, like, it's interesting. I think I saw a comment in here about Cole Beasley talking about the playbook today. He had his first press conference of camp, and he talked about how this being the most complex offense he's ever played in. And Cole Beasley's been in the league almost a decade, been in a couple different systems. So I think that coming from him tells you the kind of responsibility that Brian Daboll has put on Josh Allen and this offense as a whole. But Allen's responsible for it all. So I think what we've seen in these first 2 years is, especially early on, a little bit of a deer in the headlights type of situation where he's just trying to learn as much as he can. What I've sensed, even going back to the spring and some of the interviews that we've had with him, a confidence level, a different level of confidence going into this year. He seems more comfortable, more just like a better sound understanding of what his responsibilities are, where people are going to be. There was one play today, I will mention, though, where Cole Beasley and John Brown were in the vicinity of where an incompletion fell to the grass, and it looked like just a miscommunication. Nothing I would get too up in arms about, but there was a little bit of a look on Allen's face from what I could see. I had the binoculars out, of just like confusion. But I think that from hearing Cole talk about it today, this thing is so complex, and it's probably even more complex now in year 3 because they're opening up different parts of the game. Like they were working on a lot of short passing game today. Like at the beginning of practice, it was a lot of short routes, and in the routes versus air at the beginning of practice, all the way to the 11 on 11, you could see a lot of that stuff. A couple screenplays were run. Zach Moss got loose on a screenplay, a really nice play. Dude, that kid loves to seek out contact.
That boy is yoked.
Yeah, he has if he can stay healthy, like I'm starting to come around on the idea that I saw from some people that thought he was going to be the eventual RB1 here. Like
don't fall for that.
I can buy into that a little bit. He's showing. Listen, I'm still Team Singletary in terms of who's the 1A of this 2-back combo, but I'm starting to see some characteristics of a guy that can really take over. But listen, let me ask you this: when in New Orleans, when Mark Ingram was running the rock there and Alvin Kamara was there, when Alvin Kamara came in the league, it was still Mark Ingram's show for the most part. For until the later years when it was Alvin Kamara who really asserted himself.
For sure.
I feel like this kind of feels like that a little bit. Now, it's a little different. Ingram was much more seasoned. Like I think he was maybe 3 or 4 years in the league when Alvin Kamara came into the league. So it's a little bit different and the styles are different. But I think that Zach Moss is a guy that's going to come in here probably 60-40 split to start off.
60-40? Okay.
We can get to I think we could definitely get to a situation this season where it's 50-50. It doesn't seem like either of these guys has that kind of ego where that's going to be a problem. Whatever's working, get the ball in playmakers' hands and let them do what they're going to do.
I see it like a more of a Stewart and D'Angelo Williams type of tandem where they feed off one another. It's really one or the other. It's like they're two different backs. Elusive with and listen, we're both and we're fortunate to be covering a team that we have two solid running backs. So to poo-poo on one and not and it's not even the case. It's just lovely to know that we have two solid running backs. I look forward to it. And I think it's gonna be fun to watch. But that boy looks big on the field. Holy crow! And you're saying he's seeking contact during thud?
Yeah. Boy. He drug 2 would-be tacklers into the end zone for a 3-yard touchdown run today. I didn't see who the tacklers were. It might have been linebackers. I can't remember. Like it was in the pile, but he got 2 good thuds and he drug them right in there because it is thud, but I mean there are some tackles out there. I mean there are some hits out there. So it was at the goal line and it gets a little bit more physical at the goal line, but he powered it in, man. Like it was no problem. So I think that. I feel like they got in the 5-yard line last year. You already have a weapon like Josh Allen who can not only sneak, but also read option, get out and really attack defenses. Now you got a bulldozer that you can send up the middle. They have a lot of options on offense, man. Like, and to your favorite conversation, big season for Brian Dable. Big season for Brian Dable.
It's a massive one. And he's tied to Josh Allen because Josh Allen has to have a big and I have a show that I'm going to be doing on Friday, and it's going to be the evolution of Josh, of what we've had year 1, 2, and then to 3, what we expect in year 3. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think he's going to have a pretty solid year. The confidence is it's evident just by the little clips that we see. I didn't like that interception he threw to Micah Hyde. I don't know what he put a little too much touch on that one.
Yeah,
it was gifted to Micah Hyde. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it's gonna happen. You got to get those kinks out.
And let's not forget he's going up against one of the elite secondaries in this league. Like you can't have like even a slight error in a throw going against Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer, and all 3 of them today. Hyde with the interception, Poyer with a big breakup on a pass to Diggs, Tre'Davious White with a big breakup on a pass to Diggs.
Yep.
Huge. Gets a little chatty out there. That's my favorite part about camp, man. Like Jordan Poyer's fun, man. Like he's chatty. Is he? Yeah, he's chatty, dude. Like it's fun. I asked him last year because he got talking to Josh a little bit when he threw like a bad pass or whatever. But they get going. I mean, that's the environment. It's football, man. Like it doesn't matter if you're on the same team. Like you're out there competing, like it's gonna get, and it's fun. They all talk about it after. They're like, it'd probably be weird for them if they weren't talking mess.
I listen. We embrace it. We love it. We haven't had football since the Houston game. So anything that is showing the team in a positive light, we will definitely take. By the way, we are 39 minutes in. I appreciate your time, Mr. Parrino. I'm going to give you the floor to drop any nuggets that you want to drop, anything that people should be paying attention to day 3. What should we expect from Matt Parrino and Ryan Talbot? I don't want to forget my guy Ryan. He's coming up in the game. Although he's got to work on that on the shock look the other day. Ryan, you work on that, baby. You work on that. But what do you want to drop and let folks know about what you guys are going to be up to in the next couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, we're going heavy in our podcast. We're daily reaction from training camp. Whatever happens that day, at the very least, you'll get me going for a few minutes on what I saw, because I do observations every day, a story, but I also want to give that podcast too, because I think that that's a cool kind of unique thing. Get a chance to come on here with a guy like you as well. I think it really helps kind of just get into the details a little bit more, as much of the details as we can. But all my stuff, follow at Matt Parrino on Twitter, New York Upstate, Syracuse.com for all the coverage story-wise. And yeah, man, we got, as a matter of fact, Ryan, I'll give that a shout out. He's got a big story coming out on Gilliam this week. He talked to his coach from Toledo. He's so I think that's either dropping tomorrow or Thursday. And we got Sean McDermott in the morning. So we'll be right back out there at sunny Buffalo.
Buffalo. I got to say something about Gilliam before we get out of here. The reason I think I'm rooting for Gilliam a lot is that you've never been the bona fide star, even from when high school to collegiate, walking onto the team to now. The guy is just a walking athlete, just a walking talent. So he's definitely going to be pushing DeMarco. But like you said, he's going to have to rip that away from Pat DeMarco. But anyway, I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, my guy Matt Parrino still has the best hair in the game.
It's rough right now because I literally came from coaching my son's little league baseball team, and I went with no hat today because I wanted to keep the flow going. It was a little windy out there, a little rainy, but we kept it together. You know, you got to look good on the Rico show, man. I can't come out of here not looking good.
My guy Matt Parrino, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Parrino doing big things for us right now. So Matt, don't forget, when I put that bat signal up, hit your boy up, because the people are asking for it. The people, they say they're calling it the Rico Reno show. I don't know. We can make something happen.
Let's get that segment going, man. I got you.
I love it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Matt Parrino. Thank you, Matt. We will talk soon, and we'll catch each other later, man.
Later, brother.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's my guy, Matt Parrino. Listen, I hope you guys received some nuggets from there, and I hope I was able to ask some pertinent questions, some questions that have been lingering. We touched on Josh Allen. We touched on the receiving group. We touched on the defensive side. I didn't touch on the defensive line and the linebacking crew. I think I want to allow more time for them to develop and really get some footage. I mean, he's limited, man. He's limited. They're all limited on what they can do. So if you guys appreciate this type of content, then we will definitely try to link up, because that's my guy. I got my guy, N. Smith says, I just went into a Jets fans to see what they think of Buffalo. I got what I expected. They said that they got to give Darnold time, but apparently Allen is already a bust. Listen, Jets fans have been talking ish for so long. They acting like they got the second coming of friggin' Namath. Like, get out of here, boy. Like, Jets fans are Jets fans. They are where they are. They're going to be looking up through the standings, looking at the Bills. I mean, that's just what it's going to be. It's just what it is. So folks, I hope you guys appreciate this type of content that we bring to you. This is the Rico Report. It's the Buffalo Fanatics. Please keep an eye out for content that's going to be coming to you every single day of the week when it comes to the podcast game and when it comes to these vidcasts, right? It's the Daily Buffalo that's going to be presenting you guys with a podcast. It's the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network. We've got it all. Y'all just look that podcast network of the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network, and you have everything you want, from the Hump Day Hotline to the Bills Guys, to the Hoof Podcast, to the Bills Overdue, to the Bills Guys. We have it all. So keep tuning in. This is the Rico Report with the Buffalo Fanatics. And until next time, it's your boy. I had to get that bell, and I'm gone.